What helps, but what cures chronic neck, back, arm, shoulder, stomach, hip, RSI, fibromyalgia? What helps, but what are the things that we can do to actually cure and end chronic pain and have it leave our body and life? And if it does arise, to know how to have it leave and support it on its way quickly without suffering and ongoing pain. Hi, my name's Trevor Russell. I am a person who has recovered and navigated myself through the years of chronic TMS pain after discovering Dr. John Isano and applying his methodologies. I have cured myself through a number of bouts of severe chronic pain, and I'm talking neck, back, arm, shoulder, hip, chronic RSI in my right arm. So I can well and truly say that while I'm not a medical expert, I'm a person who has applied these methodologies and principles, and I now live free of chronic pain, and they work if they're worked. So I just want to share what I've done, what I've learned, because look at the world that we're in. We have the highest level of pharmaceutical product use. People are struggling with depression, anxiety, chronic pain, and I think that medication plays a part. Doctors are doing their best, but very often I think from my own experience that these are band-aids to a much deeper wound that can heal, but it's knowing how to use more than a band-aid to find to really have an elegant healing process. So, and let's just be clear what I'm wanting to clarify here. I'm not talking about pain of falling off your push bike and twisting or breaking your ankle and you're in pain, but you get it set and you rest it, and over time it heals and you get on with your life. That is a different type of pain. I'm talking about the pain that is recurring, it's deep, it's relentless, and for someone who's had years of mild to severe pain, this is the type of pain that I'm talking about. And if you know Dr. John Sano or many of the specialists out there in the world that are helping people with this chronic, what we call tension myositis syndrome, or I like to call it tension of the mind syndrome, causing these pains, this is the pain I'm talking about. So let's jump into it, and hopefully you'll find this helpful, and let's get into it. So the first thing is, what helps? And what's the difference between helping and curing? Well, I think helping for me is massages, hot packs, cold packs, maybe getting a manipulation, maybe it's resting, it's taking some painkillers, and these forms of helping treatments to just kind of soothe the pain, which are nice things to do, and I've done them. However, I can tell you, after being someone who lived on a chiropractor's table for years and got relief, don't get me wrong, I'm not wanting to disrespect chiropractors or physios, they do wonderful work in many areas, but I'm talking about a deep-seated chronic stress-induced form of pain that is just not enough. There is deeper work to do, and that's what I'd now like to lead to, which is I've just got some notes here, excuse me, to just help me. But what cures? What are the things that we can do and open the door to, or be reminded of if you're already doing this work, that really does bring around lasting long-term cure where it's gone? It's literally not there anymore. It's not mild, it's completely gone. I struggled with chronic lower back sciatica, as it was diagnosed, pain for years, to the point where I would collapse on my floor when I'd got home, and my mother and father didn't know what to do, and at one point they even took me to a surgeon after being sent to a surgeon by a GP to look, and he wanted to cut part of my disc out of my lower back. And thank God for my father that he said, no, you're not doing that to my son, and now I live completely pain-free. So but the good news is, even if you have had surgery with this type of approach through neuroplasticity, even if you've had some disc removed, it is still possible. But if you still have pain because you haven't dealt with the deeper issues, it's still possible to end that pain and suffering through this process. So I know what we're talking about. But the first thing is this: belief. Belief that this is a pain that is induced from the brain, and the brain is cutting off minute amounts of oxygen to normal, to parts of the body where we have normal abnormalities, or even if there's no abnormalities, the brain is doing the thing to cause severe gastrointestinal issues, or all forms of chronic pain in different areas, can even cause vertigo, tinnitus, all these other forms of TMS, tension mind syndrome related conditions in the body. And so the first thing is belief. And as hard as this is, because I know people that I know have got TMS pain, they tick all the boxes, and let's review those quickly. Childhood trauma. I mean, it doesn't have to be all of these to have it, but it could be any one of these or a number of these. Childhood trauma, A-type, high-achieving personalities, sensitive, people-pleasing, wanting to make sure that everyone else gets what they want, not putting oneself first, so putting everyone else first. Worrier can have, a very perfectionist, needs to get things right, needs to get things perfect. This puts a lot of pressure on us as human beings, and these are the classic traits of people that have the propensity to contract chronic TMS related pain or conditions and symptoms in the body in various forms. So the first thing is changing the belief that the accident that happened in 1998 is not the reason why you have lower back pain or shoulder pain, because the body heals. The body heals. If you've had recurring chronic pain from an accident that happened years ago, it would be my bet, I'm no expert, but have you considered that it is TMS pain, TMS induced pain, and it is actually treatable through how we change how we think and how we do life and what we believe. So believing that this is a mental condition and a physical condition. And that was the first gold nugget that I learned of Sana. Was my lower back pain, my shoulder pain, my RSI pain had nothing to do with compressed discs or nerves in my wrist getting pressed. This was because of past and present trauma, and the way I was doing life is to why I had pain. And that was a game changer. The next thing is self-care, love, patience, and respect. The other condition, or the other trait of people that suffer with TMS pain is not putting ourselves first. We're so hard on ourselves, so judgmental on ourselves, have to be perfect. And this can very often be born from child trauma, but being nurturing of ourselves, starting to put ourselves first, being okay with respecting ourselves, being okay to set boundaries and say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm putting myself and my own needs first. This has nothing to do with physical manipulation. This has to do with changing how we think and do life. And this is when the pain starts to lift and release, when we start making changes to how we're doing and thinking about life and ourselves. Now, if I didn't say it the first time, I'll say it again: belief. I want to reinforce this, the belief that this is a mental condition that can be cured by changing our thoughts and how we do life. It is not a physical condition, even though you can feel it in the body. It's a bit like getting a headache. What happens if you get a headache? You feel it in the body, but you're not thinking, oh, well, maybe you are, but I'm never thinking, oh, something's broken in my brain. I generally think to myself, I'm probably stressed, I'm dehydrated, I need to rest, maybe have a hangover. No, I'm talking about those headaches that come about for no apparent reason. So what do? We rest, we take care, we drink water, and the pain goes. But we still feel it in the body. Yet when we get pain in other parts of our body, we have this societal belief that there is something physically wrong in the body, when it actually is very often could be coming from the brain creating the pain in the body. Let's think about it. If we see something that's scary, our heart beats and we're going to panic. It's our brain doing that. It's not any, you get the point, right? You get the point. I think I've sold you on that idea. The next thing is being with your pain. This gentleman here who I followed and follow, Alan Gordon, The Way Out, fantastic book, specialist, him and his team, and I worked with one of his coaches, TMS specialist coaches, to help me through a chronic bout of TMS. And that's the other thing, work with someone who can help you understand what this is and to give you the space to feel heard and real and vulnerable, and that it's okay to have these feelings and sensations, so you can start to release it and know that it is possible. And his coach that I work with, very helpful. But one of the things that Alan says in this book, and I highly recommend you read this book, The Way Out by Alan Gordon, he talks about somatic tracking. Now, somatic tracking to me, and Joey Remini, who helps people with what I call TMS, but it's for tinnitus and vertigo and Meniere's, she calls it healing hands. And it's at a time where we can stop and actually be with our body and come into our body, stop running around, stop being frantic, stop being manic. And this is one of the things that I've had challenge with, because I'm a high energy person. I'm a classic TMS type personality traits, perfectionist, sensitive, all these things, had some trauma and experience. So it's stopping and being with ourselves. And if you see Dan from Pain Free You, Dan does this so beautifully. Well done for your work, Dan, and to you, Alan, and to you, Joey, and to all of you who do this beautiful work, is to breathe and come to yourself and feel a sense of safety and know that you're okay. And so with somatic tracking, it's taking space and feeling into your pain, and feeling into your shoulder pain or your neck pain or your hip pain or the ringing in your head or the sensations and pain that you're feeling. And as I compare it to, it's facing the dog, the barking dog that has no teeth. The dog that is barking and yelling and saying this is painful and this is dangerous. And you just be with the pain, even if you start a little bit, just a little bit. Because I know when I've done this at first in the past and your body is screaming in pain and you're being told to sit and be with it, it's a very confronting thing to do. And I know that for a fact. So be gentle with yourself. If you're at a 10 out of 10 and it's, you know, you're in a deep place of pain, maybe that's not the time to do it. But maybe, you know, if there is, it eases off at time and it's a 6 or a 7 or a 5, do it then, and just come into your body, calm and be present and have a rest and just feel into it. And maybe, as Joey says, give it some color, feel it, even if it's just for a couple of seconds to start with. Because the more we can face this thing that is almost trying to protect us by giving us these feelings of pain, or these painful sensations, the more we can start to face it and look at it in the face. I've done this, and it starts to, after a while, loosen its grip, because I feel it sounds strange, but it's like, well, he's not really concerned about it, so maybe we'll just kind of give up. And this is the other thing, is having the approach that I feel this in my body, but getting on with doing your life. And this is very hard. I know I have had pain so bad where I couldn't use my right arm, with chronic RSI, the burning up my arm, here in my wrist pulsing, my neck's burning. But what I would do is I would rest my head and I'd type, because I've got to work, and I would be burning, and I'd do it for as long as I could do it, and then I'd go have a break and I'd come back. Now, this is not a fast process, and I think this is why so many people are opting for the helpful approaches of the massage and the treatments, because we want instant release, don't we? And I'm not saying don't do those helpful things with the good people that are helping people do those things, massage, medication, all these, recovery type treatments, hot cold baths, but to really have a full suite of approaches to get a healing outcome, it is to do this deeper work. That is what I know from my own personal experience, and that can be very confronting. So the next thing is to come to the belief that stress is not causing your pain. I know it can come up out of stress, but I now have no physical pain, and I have a lot of stress going on at the moment. There's a lot of things. I just moved house, work is challenging, there's stress, but I don't have physical chronic pain, because I think my brain got rewired to such a point now where it's like, that's not what it does. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get a little tinge that will pop up. I will get a feeling in my lower back for a bit, but I just say, it's no big deal. I know what it is. It's my brain doing it. And I say, brain, we're all good here. Let it flow, let it go. And I'm getting on with my life. I don't give it any attention and energy, and the dog kind of starts barking. But it's taken me a long time to get to that point. Now, when I say a long time, I haven't had chronic pain for years, but when you're in it, to give you hope that, sure, it could take months, it could take many months, it could take a year or so. I've had bouts of chronic pain that went on for 6 months. But what I had done to myself prior to get to that point of absolute debilitating chronic TMS pain is the next thing that I want to tell you about cure is listen and feel for the signs. If you're starting to feel that you're pushing too hard and your neck's starting to hurt, or your hip or pain or elbow or whatever it is that you're struggling with, take it as a sign that, I can feel something. What do I need to do here to be kind to myself? Am I being hard on myself? Am I pushing myself too hard? Am I worrying too much about something? Do I need to talk and get it out, or just stop and rest? Because that's what I kept doing to myself. Every time I would push myself so much, perfectionism, trying to do 3 jobs at once, hard on myself, being my own worst enemy, why didn't I do this? And I could have done that better. Looking backwards, I wish I'd done differently. I ended up in severe chronic pain. And so now I'm learning, and I think I'm getting there, that, hey, I feel something. Now, sometimes it's just the body, I think, doing its stuff. It's like, we kind of ran this show once, and every now and then, dirt comes up. Like, I train at the gym 3-4 times a week, and I'm working out with weights, and I used to not ever be able to do, if I did squats years ago, if you know what squatting is on the squat rack, next day, lower back pain, out for the count. Now, I don't have it, because I have a different belief around what pain is and what it isn't. So my body just doesn't do that anymore. But that's what it used to do. I had to change my belief. So, okay, so I've covered a lot here. Thank you if you're still watching. Hope you find this helpful. And if you are at this point, give yourself a little pat for doing the good work to keep hearing good news, knowing that it's possible. The last one I will give you for now is allow for support. Allow for people to nurture you. Allow yourself to be someone who matters, who deserves to be given the attention and the ear from someone else to communicate with and share, because I also feel people that are struggling with chronic pain, including myself, is, I'll keep it all in, I'll deal with it, I'll soldier on, right? And very often this is the worst thing that we can do, because we're human and we carry all of this inside of our bodies. And so to speak to someone, whoever it is, if you want to have a chat, we can have a chat, but maybe you're working with someone or a friend, I talk to my partner. I work with coaches, by the way. I engage professionals to just talk. I watch videos still now to keep the good news going, because I am a human being like all of us, but now I've learned communicate. Hey, I'm struggling with this, what do you think? Or just to communicate and get it out and feel okay with being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, that it's human and normal to have stuff going on and not just have to soldier on or be too concerned about, oh, I don't want to bother anyone, I don't want to put anything on anyone. It's like we're all dealing with stuff, and I'm just saying, you get the point, right? Speak to someone, get it out. Even yesterday I was frustrated with something, and I said to my partner, I said, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, I don't want to bother you with that. And she said, no, tell me. What is it? What's going on, Trav? And let's talk about it. Let's get out. So I just shared with her, and it was good. And I knew the outcome, but still just to get it out, yeah? So thank you for watching. These things do work. It is possible to break free of chronic debilitating pain in the body. And whatever you're struggling with, all I would close off by saying is be kind and gentle to yourself. These processes do work. It takes work, but it's so worth it. I promise you, it's so worth it. And wherever you're at on your journey, if you're in deep chronic pain, I feel you, I've been there, but I promise you, if you just gentle to yourself, one step at a time, do these little things, pick a few. You don't have to do it all, but pick a few. Allow yourself each day to be with it, feel it, be with yourself. But the number one thing I will leave you with this, that I believe out of what helps versus cure, is the belief. The belief that this is a pain, and these sensations or pain is being created by my brain. And the good news with that is I can change my beliefs and my relationship to it, and that is where cure will start and occur, is from the belief. If you are hanging on to it being a physical condition or some diagnosed condition with a name that long, please do the work to change the belief, to change the neurological belief in your mind, which is what is neuroplasticity, is the belief that this is curable, the body cures, I can get through this. That would be the number one thing I would have you focus on, is to believe that this is something that you can affect and you can cure yourself from. And I believe that you can. People are doing it. And wherever you're at, God bless. You're stronger than you probably realize that you are, but you can do it. And let's do this together. Let's help the world be a better place, and live the fulfilling, rich, whatever rich is to you, happier, healthier lives. Ciao for now. My name's Trevor Russell. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on another video very soon. Ciao.